Join us as we take you through some of the most repulsive, offensive, and straight up edgy movies ever made. Here are our top 10 raunchiest R-rated comedies. But before we go on with the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get notified every time we drop something new. And if you love watching K-drama and K-pop reactions, check out our other channel, YaboyRocklee Reactions. Now, let's get to the video. Number 10. Ted, 2012. Coming first on our list is Ted, in arguably one of the most inappropriate comedy movies released in the 2010s. The plot follows the wild adventures of John Bennett, played by Mark Wahlberg, a Boston native whose wildest childhood wish comes true after his teddy bear friend Ted comes alive. Instead of a warm, fuzzy, cute pet, Ted turns out to be a wisecracking, pot-smoking best friend to John some 30 years later, and the two go on some crazy wild adventures. To put it simply, the movie is rude, very offensive, childish, and sometimes even plain abrasive. Nobody is safe from the ridicule dished out in this movie. If you're looking for a movie that perfectly presents nonsensical adult humor, then Ted is definitely top 10 material. Number 9. Bridesmaids. When Bridesmaids was released in 2011, the world was shocked by the brazen, dirty humor and touchy jokes that littered the scenes. The movie itself opens with a 3-minute-long erotic scene, preparing the audience that they are about to step into a world where nothing is off limits. The movie features so many erotic scenes with sexual innuendos that it almost feels like you're watching the wrong Bridesmaids. As Lillian, Annie and the rest of her bridesmaids embark on several shenanigans, the audience is treated to a drug and alcohol-fueled adventure that many people found a bit offensive when it was released. Regardless, the movie went on to record monumental success, and it has become a fan favorite over the years. Number 8. Zack and Miri. Kevin Smith outdid himself with the next movie, which features Elizabeth Banks and Seth Rogen as the main characters. The movie follows the story of Zack and Miri, two poverty-stricken roommates who had stayed together for many years, but had never been intimate. When they are faced with the risk of eviction and certain ruin, they decided to make a porn film in an attempt to make a quick buck. Things take a very wild turn as these friends discover that they had harbored deep feelings for each other over the years. And finally, they were able to achieve an unmatchable chemistry when the time came to finally make the movie. The movie is quite offensive, but also sweetly naughty in a way. Nothing is filtered in this movie, and almost every dialogue is as dirty as it can be, making it one of the most entertaining yet edgy romantic comedies in recent history. Number 7. Blazing Saddles. Released in 1974, Blazing Saddles stood at the pinnacle of edgy and controversial Hollywood movies, with its over-the-top jab at racism. It also set the gold standard for what has now become an overused cinema trope, the interracial buddy comedy. When Rock Ridge, a quaint little town in the Wild West, gets its first sheriff, no one would have been prepared for an African-American man to show up. The movie follows the adventures of Black Bart, played by Cleveland Little, as he navigates the arduous task of overseeing the unrepentantly racist town, ultimately saving Rock Ride from near destruction. But this is not your usual Wild West movie. As Vincent Canby describes it in his New York Times review, the film is every Western you've ever seen turned upside down and inside out. Despite the blatant racist remarks and name-calling, Blazing Saddles is in no way regarded as a racist movie, and has even been lauded for showcasing the harsh realities of life as an African-American back in the Wild West, albeit with a comedic undertone. Number 6. American Pie. The first film in the American Pie franchise was released in 1999. And since then, Adam Hertz has delivered more and more raunchy comedy films under the franchise. For the sake of this video, however, we'll be taking a look at the first movie in the series. American Pie follows 5 classmates who attended East Great Falls in Michigan, and their attempt at exploring the most eagerly anticipated and most humiliating part of adulthood, losing their virginity. Although the movie is quite vulgar and unrestrained, it doesn't feature completely gross-out humor. Even though it employs crude humor, American Pie steers clear over the top of disgusting humor that's often a blurred line in many edgy comedy films. Still, it remains forever crested on top of the raunchy comedy subgenre, and it is considered one of the most influential movies, and its success inspired many like it, challenging the status quo of what's acceptable on the big screen. Number 5. The Dictator. Sacha Baron Cohen isn't necessarily everyone's favorite person, but there's no denying his comedic prowess, even though he possesses an uncanny ability to get under anyone's skin. The story follows General Aladdin, who goes on a trip to the United States to sign a peace treaty with the United Nations. Most people who saw the movie weren't all captivated by the plot, which was never the point. Instead, they came for the offensive jokes and very dirty humor that littered almost every single scene in the movie. Cohen holds nothing back, dishing out risky racist jokes and throwing jabs at the American government and the people, while crossing every single line in the book. The movie was so offensive that there were petitions written against Cohen to ban the movie in several regions. Regardless, The Dictator experienced impressive success and will forever be remembered as one of the most edgy comedies in Hollywood history. Number 4. Police Academy. Most people will never admit it, but we all love the Police Academy films. They are very chaotic and idiotic and deliver the kind of a slapstick comedy that would either get you rolling on the floor or rolling your eyes. Just like every 80s movie, Police Academy treats women only as sex symbols, while poking fun at the gross incompetence of the police force. The movie brings together some of the goofiest, clumsiest, and most awkward characters you can think of, creating a very chaotic experience from the opening scenes to the end credits. With the success of the first movie in the franchise, 8 more were born, each one more raunchy than the previous one. Even though it may not have aged well, Police Academy retains its legacy as one of the most successful films in its genre. Number 3. There's Something About Mary. The 1990s witnessed a resurgence of glossy romantic comedies and a rise in socio-political sensitivity. But standing in stark contrast to these politically correct movies that ruled the decade was There's Something About Mary. Following the success of Dumb and Dumber, nobody could have believed that Peter and Bobby Farrelly could have outdone themselves again, but they did. And in the process, they created a new style of romantic comedy. This raunchy, gross-out rom-com paved the way for a new era in the genre, with its dirty humor and unapologetic edginess. The iconic shot of Cameron Diaz with stuck-up spunk hair became one of the defining images of 90s comedy. And till date, There's Something About Mary remains one of the highest-grossing romantic comedies of all time. Number 2. Porky's. This movie is famously regarded as one of the most problematic films of the 80s, and that's for a good reason. Porky's was the quintessential offensive R-rated comedy of the decade. The movie was very special, and that was because it delivered a shocking level of gratuitous crass and exploitative comedy that will definitely never be allowed today. It follows the adventure of 4 high schoolers as they attempt to lose their virginity. As expected, the scenes that unfolded were quite offensive, to say the least. It also features a racist, sexist, and anti-Semitic undertone, so let's just say that this one hasn't aged too well. The sexism in the movie was way too obvious, and it drew complaints even back in 1982, especially the scenes where the boys were caught spying on girls in the bathroom. Even though it experienced massive success, Porky's will probably remain on the blacklist of many people for a very long time now. Number 1. Borat. Coming in at the top of our list of the raunchiest R-rated comedies ever made is this mockumentary about a man who travels from Kazakhstan to the United States to make a documentary about the ways of life of the American people. To put it simply, the film is very offensive, but hey, it's only a movie. British satirist Sacha Baron Cohen delivers a remarkable performance in this one, as he continued to pour under the skin of many people both on screen and off screen. The movie was so terrible that there were calls to get it banned both home and abroad, but secretly many people loved it. Borat is quite juvenile, very repulsive, politically incorrect, and if you've seen it, it's probably one of the funniest movies you've ever seen, which is why it's number 1 on our list. Make sure you subscribe to YaboyRocklee Movies for more movie reactions. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.